Care Services, because there's no place like home.
Good morning, happy Saturday, and welcome once again to Limitless Health Horizons, right here on Legends 100.3. I am Mike McGann with you as always, and of course, this program is brought to you by Horizon Care Services, providing excellence in private duty home care. They really are the very best when it comes to private duty home care. The number to call to learn more is 561-776-7757 to call Horizon Care Services, 561-776-7757. The website is horizoncareservices.com. And with me, as always, is my dear friend, one of the hardest working people I know, and I know a few people. She is the founder and the owner of Horizon Care Services, Andrea Albertini. Good morning, Andrea.
Good morning and happy Saturday, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
Always great to see you, Andrea. Now, listen, you and I are both we're super busy, right? You've got everything you do at Horizon. I've got the stuff I do at Legends. We have all the community stuff we do outside of it. We're always kind of expanding. And you've been really out there lately, like expanding social media. You've been reaching out to people to find out what their cares and concerns are in terms of Horizon and in terms of the community. And, you were telling me before we went on the air, you found out something a little bit surprising when you were talking to some people out in the community about the perception of private duty and the fact that a lot of people don't even know what it is.
Right. Exactly. And the interesting thing is when someone say, oh my God, my mom cannot be alone anymore. My dad cannot be alone anymore.
Right.
I got to put them in an assisted living facility. I can't leave them alone. Well, there are choices.
There are a lot of options.
A lot of options.
It's amazing what a leap that is. But again, I understand the leap. It's kind of been the way people have thought for a long time. But no, it's not the only option. Home care is a fantastic one. We had it from my mom.
Exactly. And, there's a difference between, there's two different types of home care,
okay,
right? There is the Medicare home health services where you had a knee replacement, hip replacement, a surgery, or, just a fall, and you need physical therapy. You need a nurse to come to the house, does an assessment, has physical therapy. 4 weeks later, they're gone, right? So you have that kind of home health agency. But a lot of people don't understand or know about home health private duty home care.
And it's a pretty significant difference. I mean, it's
very
very big.
Very big. Because we can actually live with the patient. We can provide 8 hours, 12-hour care, 24-hour care,
wow,
live-in care.
Live-in care.
And a person may need nursing. They have they need a trach. They have a trach. They need nursing service. RNs around the clock. LPNs around the clock.
Yeah.
Infusion services. So we are a full service private duty home health agency. And when we bring people home with that kind of care, either from the hospital or the rehab facility, we put everything in place, from having a mobile doctor to come to the house, podiatrist, medication delivery, mobile diagnostic testing, if the client needs a lab, if they need an EKG or whatever they need. The way we do with Horizon Care Services is we bring all the service into the home. Right there to provide that quality of life,
sure,
that you need, just because of the fact that you're aging in place, right?
And that's the thing. I mean, you're in your home turf too. I
exactly.
think that there's a comfort level there. There is just so much that leads often to better outcomes to have someone in their home. They're not in some cases, look, bigger facilities, more people can lead to a few more bacteria from time to time,
sure,
viruses, anything like that. A staff that can be stretched a little more thin. And speaking of staff, one of the cool things about this, because you scratch the surface of some of the services that are offered. There's a lot more.
Oh, of course.
But
yeah,
the relationship that happens between the caregivers and the people they're caring for in that home situation, the 8 hours, the 12 hour, the 24 hour, they build the caregiver and the patient these very close relationships. There's an understanding, there's an honesty, there's an affection.
Yes.
That really does show up, especially when you have caregivers the quality at Horizon.
Oh, absolutely. You and I had the discussion before. I'm lucky enough for that 60% of my caregiver. You still have been with me for over 20 years.
Over 20 years? The ones you started with, they're still there.
They're still there.
I mean, those are polished
they were in their
professionals, too.
20s.
Yeah.
When they started, young CNAs out of school,
Yep.
young nurses who are now become nurse practitioners.
Yes.
Which is really, really cool.
And there's nothing they haven't seen.
Exactly. Everything. And now I just keep expanding more and more to bring more of that sense of security.
It's a big thing.
For our clients, you
Yes.
know. But as you know, there are also people who don't do well with the caregiver at home.
There are people who need a little more social, a little more like a structure with other people there. They need activities that are laid out and structured and calendared. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's true. I mean, that is, look, there's a reason that's an industry in and of itself, because there is a need for that industry as well.
Exactly.
And look, I'm a huge proponent of home care in general. My mom did. She lived longer than anyone would have expected. And a lot of that came down to the good home care, the right right nurse that was with her, who became such a dear friend and companion, would sit and watch Magnum with her. And then the TV commercials for the timeless classic music collections, I mean, it was kind of a beautiful thing to
nice,
see.
Yeah.
And my siblings and I always said, wow, well, she has the time to get to know mom and know mom's routines better than we could do, right? That works beautifully in a whole lot of cases. That's where Horizon comes in. And again, learn more at horizoncareservices.com, horizoncareservices.com, or by calling 561-776-7757 for that private duty home care. They are the very best at it. But in those other cases where someone may actually do better at a facility,
Yes.
Horizon, excellence in private duty home care, but also beyond, because you help with that too.
Absolutely. So then a few years ago, I opened a company called Elder Care Finders, so
Yes.
eldercarefinders.com. And we are able to actually help the family select the best community to place their loved ones.
And look, and given all the choices, all the variables, all the things we don't know, as lay people, what you can find out, the information you have is that can really make that decision that much simpler.
Exactly. And you got to remember, a lot of the children don't live here.
That's exactly
And
it, yeah.
mom and dad are here in Florida, right?
Right.
And they are relying on me, or if they call the facility directly, they're not going to tell them what they need to hear. So I personally go to every single facility.
Right.
I visit their memory care unit, I visit their community, and I look at everything, hygiene, the clients, are they clean, everything else. And, there's qualifications for you to go into a facility.
Right.
You have to be somewhat independent.
Yeah.
Of
course. I mean,
and a lot of people don't qualify to go to assisted living because they need somebody helping with bathing, dressing, meal preparation, and things
Right.
like that.
All those
or they're in a
activities of daily
wheelchair.
living,
Exactly.
yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah.
But, knowing that someone is there to kind of do the detective work at the beginning is also big, because
It is.
a lot of places, here's the rate. Well, it doesn't mention that this is an add-on and this is an add-on. and
Exactly.
This is an add-on.
They call levels of care.
And you're going to find all of those
Exactly.
and present them in a balanced way.
Exactly. And I went to visit 3 facilities last week for some of my clients that has Alzheimer's, unfortunately. And it smells really, really bad. The other one wasn't very clean. The floors were filthy, and that's not what I want to recommend. You know what I mean? And it's a free service that we do for the community, Mike.
That's really amazing.
Yeah, because it's a lot of time. It takes a lot of time me driving around myself personally,
It's
since
true.
I'm putting my name behind it.
Yeah, well, I know. Trust me, I see you driving around all over the place. But you're not on a payroll of any of these. This is not something where it's like, add us to the top of your list. You do the research to find the very best one for someone, and you do it free of
absolutely.
charge because of that. I mean, you said something to me at one of the very first shows, and we've hit this a lot over the past year and a half, as long as we've been doing this, and that is, you have to be able to wake up and look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Your integrity is, that is your stock in trade. That is your primary drive in this. Is your integrity is your calling card.
Absolutely.
Let's talk a bit about that, because to me that says a lot.
Well, one of the things actually, and funny that you mentioned, I was actually speaking with one of my clinicians today, and he came to me and he was going to be very involved with my mobile physician practice.
Right.
And he felt that he couldn't do it because, he felt that he was over his head.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, look, there's a lot that goes into mobile physician. There's a lot of on-call type work. It's a different kind of a demand on a
Exactly.
physician. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and I was honored about that. I was honored that he literally came to me and said, look, I'm very busy. I can't give you any time. That's fine. We said goodbye to each other and we're always going to be friends. And, it just didn't work out, and that's okay.
That really is a very cool thing, because that is so above board. And that also says a lot for the integrity of the people that you approach to be affiliated with you. You're not going to partner with just anybody.
No, I'm not. And you know what? He's a nice guy.
Okay.
He was going to be one of my doctors and, for the mobile physician. And listen, it didn't work out. But I love his integrity and I love mine, because we were very honest with each other.
Of course.
So that was really good. And that's how I live by,
Well, yeah, obviously it's reflected in this. Now, the mobile physician, that's something we've talked about before. You can learn more at horizonmobilephysician.com. It's got its own website, horizonmobilephysician.com, or 561-817-8274. It's a great part of the home care aspect of this, and even beyond that. Now, as far as elder care finders, again, I know that your integrity comes so into play as far as when you check facilities out, the ones you recommend, and you give a pretty extensive report on it all. Let's talk a little bit about the process involved with elder care finders. How do you help narrow it down? What's the meeting like on that? How do you help people make that decision?
It's so intense, depending where I get the client from. So I get clients from, oh my God, my mom is in a hospital. I got to place my mom in an assisted living facility. She can't be alone anymore. So then I give them the option. You want to bring mom home with the private duty, or you want to place your mom? And if so, what's your budget? What area you're looking for?
Right.
Everything. Tell me a little bit about how your mom was before she went to the hospital and she started declining.
Sure.
I'm going to need somebody that sells my mom's house. I need somebody to auction her things. And, oh my God, I need somebody to help her pick up, or furniture she's going to take to assisted living. Mike, there's so much.
It's overwhelming just hearing about it right now. I'm not involved in any of that.
Now, meanwhile, it's me like, do you have a power of attorney? Do you have a healthcare surrogate on your mom?
Right.
I mean, do you have a will? Do you have a living will? So then I go to all my power questions, and it's intense. I mean, you're talking about an hour conversation to be able to just help these people.
Wow.
And then when it comes to fruition, sometimes we can move someone directly from the hospital into an assisted living.
Just right there.
No. Or from the rehab right into assisted living.
Wow.
And then help the family pick up the pieces of what needs to be done back in home.
Wow. And then, you can then, before even you work on home, if you're selling it or whatever the case may be, bringing in the right things to make that person feel at home at the assisted living, making that their home as much as you can.
Right. So sometimes if we have to move someone right away into assisted living, they stay in a model home with their model furniture, and she were able to get a mover and bring the furniture over to her own room, you know what I mean,
That's
where she's going to stay. But there's just so much work and detail that's putting into it.
Yeah.
It's their clothing, their belonging, their cell phone, their iPads, their hygiene. There's just so much that we put together, with this transitional care that falls into our transitional care.
And I've been thinking,
it's huge.
It's so funny, but I'm sitting there thinking, if you got somebody who's older and may not understand technology in the same way, because boy, do I see that a lot. You mentioned iPads.
Yes.
And I know there's a lot of people who are seniors who use their iPads for a whole lot of things, but they're often set up for them. A lot of the details can be challenging. My mom was like that. And I'm thinking, if you're suddenly moving into a facility where you have to hook up to the Wi-Fi and you don't know how to set that up or how to find out what the password is, someone who's there to help you, even with that, it's a big thing, because otherwise there's that offline. What does this mean? It's asking me for a code. What do I do here? Someone who can put it in
Exactly.
And-
And just the TV,
Oh, boy.
Or am I going to use the facility phone? Am I going to use my cell phone?
Right.
Some of them are very techy, some of them are not.
Sure.
So there's just so much
What's the layout here? Where
Everything.
Where is this? What?
Yeah.
What are that really is? It's really overwhelming to think about.
Oh, absolutely. And, and 50% of them actually end up even getting depressed. They fall, they go to the hospital, they never come back.
Well, that's
And,
the beginning of the fall
or they
every
either
time.
go back home or they go to a nursing home or the family end up bringing them to live with them. So we were able to facilitate all of that from choosing private duty or choosing to move into a community. It's whatever you think is best for your mom or for your dad or for your loved one. Or for yourself, for
Now,
that matter.
Will you help people make those decisions? I know that's a big personal decision, but do you offer input on that? Because I think that can be a very touchy area.
I do and I don't, because I talk about like my mom. My mom is 80 years old, right? And she dances, she does yoga, she does the samba. She's a hoot, right?
Knowing you, what a shock.
Right. So anyway, that's really funny.
True story.
Yeah, it is true. But so I say, look, if you want my personal opinion, right? This is what I would do based on your budget,
Right.
or based on your condition, or based on how your mom is, or how your mom's life was, or your father's, your aunt, uncle, whatever, grandmom, whatever the case may be. So I do my input from the bottom of my heart,
Right.
what I would have done with my loved one. But it is up to them.
And I think that's a really key thing because, you're recognizing then how different everybody is.
Everybody's
that
different.
says so much about your approach, Horizon's approach, because of that none of it's going to be cookie cutter. You recognize no two people are going to be alike. There are always things we're not going to understand about family dynamics, about this, about that. The family, they're the ones who know that. The caregivers who get to know those things, they can offer input on this too. You see everybody involved as a human being with distinct needs,
Absolutely.
distinct wants, distinct preferences. And that's what's going to determine a lot of the outcomes, whether they are in their home, whether a facility is better for them, whether a mobile physician in the home is the way to go. You custom tailor things based upon knowledge of that person.
Absolutely.
Nothing cookie cutter.
Absolutely.
It's
Everybody's different.
They are.
And there are some times that I'll say, putting your mom in an assisted living is best for her.
right.
She wants to meet people. She wants to get involved in community. She's a social butterfly.
Yep. Oh, they're out there.
And they're
I know
all
a lot
there,
of them.
And they are active. You know what I
Very.
mean?
Oh, extremely.
And I don't think she'll do well at home. I really don't. Now, I make more money if they stay home.
Of course.
Right? I don't make any money. I mean, it's a free service
It's a free
that we
service
provide.
if you place them.
But you know what? You're doing the right thing for that person.
Right.
And on top of it all, wherever we place them, we keep going back there on a weekly basis to check on that client, make sure that client's okay. Give the report back to the daughter or the son or whoever.
Here's how mom's doing, because a lot of the kids don't
Yeah.
live in the state.
No, they're not here. They have their own life. They have their own families.
Yeah.
They're busy.
It really, the scope of it is really something, but the integrity behind it all, it's a word that we keep on going back to today. But I think it is a key word. There are a lot of people that are scammers. I know you run across that all the time.
Oh, my God.
You see
Yeah.
it so often.
Yep.
I see it so often. They tend to target seniors a lot.
Yep.
And, the way that you do this is polar opposite of that. You can learn more, by the way, about all of it by calling Horizon Care Services at 561-776-7757. 561-776-7757. Learn about home care. Learn what the options are there. Remember, assisted living is not the only option, but it is sometimes a good one. So if that is the case, then Elder Care Finders is also the way to go. And you can head to eldercarefinders.com or call 561-850-0435 for Elder Care Finders. It's another branch, basically, of Horizon Care Services.
Right.
But they're all there to help you out. How do you feel about a lot of those scams and things that people just seem to be preying on our seniors?
It's
now?
actually,
very disheartening.
that's another thing that probably we're going to have to talk about in the next show as well.
Yeah.
It is growing tremendously.
Yeah.
I call them predators.
Oh, they are. I mean,
Right?
that's the
And
appropriate
it's
term.
growing a lot. And actually, I had a phone call that came in through my cell phone yesterday.
Oh, boy.
That I thought was weird because a lot of, I mean, of course, everybody in the community has my cell phone.
They do. You
And-
do?
Yeah, right?
I sure do.
Yeah, and called me and said it was a caregiver, and she wanted me to give her a private patient. I said, well, do you realize I'm an agency, right? She goes, yes, but I want my own patient. I want a private patient. So I'm calling for you to give me that to me. I said, well, you need to call somebody. Like, it was weird. I
That's
said,
a very strange call.
I'm very strange. Has a heavy accent, very strange. I'm like, I hung up
I mean,
on her
it
and I
could be a
blocked her.
misunderstanding.
No,
could
it
be
wasn't a
scam.
misunderstanding. I don't even know what that was.
You have to err on the side of caution
Yeah.
here.
But you got to remember, our country clubs, especially in Palm Beach County,
Yeah.
are big victims of that.
Big time.
Okay.
I know. I remember there was a story that I was hearing about that not too long ago.
Exactly.
Somebody basically going door to door with this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the caregiver literally took the client into their clubhouse because they knew they had a notary public there to sign things over to her. And they called the police.
Wow.
So it's
brazen.
happening.
I mean, there's not
It's
even any attempt to
you gotta
hide what they're
remember,
doing.
It takes a leap of faith
It really does, yeah.
for you to put somebody in your home.
Yes.
Okay, I went through it with my husband who just passed.
Yes,
you
you certainly
So, and believe me, they're my caregivers. They have been with me for years.
Yeah, and still, for you had to say, oh, now they're coming into my home.
Right, because they were with him in a hospital.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that we do as well. If someone go in a hospital, if you go in a hospital, please have an advocate. Please have a caregiver with
huge.
you. It's huge. Please do it, because if you're alone and you don't have an advocate for you, things can get complicated.
And it's not even, I mean, look, the medical profession, people are stretched very thin. Doctors don't have the time.
that's why.
The nurses have a million patients. Everybody's overstressed. Communication can fall through.
Absolutely.
Someone who's there to connect the dots, while they're there. Well, this is the situation. This is the situation. They can tell this person this person that. And, when we are in the hospital ourselves, we tend to forget things. We're stressed out. That's not our
Exactly.
focus, is detail.
Exactly.
Somebody who's there as an advocate who can pay attention to those details, bring it together, make sure that the doctors, make sure that everybody understands the whole picture. And then if they go home with them, the continuity of care is also massive. You don't have a totally different person every couple of days.
Exactly. I mean, it's amazing. And, and the other thing, too, is, you got to remember, if you hire somebody that is not through an agency, who's liable?
I mean, in the
So
end,
they-
you end up being liable if something happens. I mean, you're gonna lose that.
Well, they can come and sue you.
Yeah.
Oh, I fell. She
No
hit me
insurance
over
on
the head
that.
with a chair. There's no workers' comp. That person can get hurt. There's nothing. They're going to come after your assets. And let me tell you something. For $300, they can go to what I call ambulance chaser attorneys.
Oh, yes.
And sue you, because believe me, and they can do that.
When I was younger, when I was about 21, an inebriated driver hit my car, totaled both cars, bad accident, okay, involved cutting her out of her car, okay. She sued me. Now, in the end, she left the state and everything just kind of disappeared. But I was floored that she could come after me
For $300.
for something that she did and scare the hell out of like 20-year-old me. It really is amazing how out of balance that can be.
I had to put in $10,000 retainer to my attorney to defend me.
Wow.
But she had to give the attorney to file $300.
And it's amazing. You need the right people on your side who understand things. And Horizon, from the caregivers to the advocates to the people that are in the home, they're licensed, they're insured, they've got everything to protect you. It protects them as well.
Of
I mean,
course.
that's the thing. Everybody is protected.
Everybody's protected.
The integrity of the service, the integrity of the transactions, the transparency of it, the safety of it. Everyone is made safe by your standards.
Exactly. And you got to remember too, Mike, I don't know if I mentioned this before. The state of Florida 10 years ago said, agencies, you don't have to carry liability insurance anymore. It's not the law. So a lot of the agencies out there don't carry liability
drop the
insurance.
insurance to save costs,
They
sure.
have the caregivers carry their own.
Okay. That
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and a lot of people don't understand that, and they don't know that.
Right.
Again, we're going back to get yourself educated in what private duty is about.
It's just that simple. And
Very simple.
It's so completely, it covers so many bases. The assisted living is not the first option when mom or dad or your spouse can't take care of themselves and you can't do it. Trust me, trying to do it on your own is a fool's errand. My family tried for a long time and it was very, very hard for us. And there were 5 kids. I mean, it's very challenging even for that. You need to know what your options are because private duty home care is an excellent option. It's so safe. The outcomes are wonderful in the home. Private duty home care, and of course the very best is Horizon. 561-776-7757 is the number, and horizoncareservices.com is the website. If it may work out that your loved one is better off in a facility, and there are cases where that's true.
Of course, absolutely.
Well, Horizon has Elder Care Finders, which is a free service designed to help you with that as well. That number is 561-850-0435. 561-850-0435 or eldercarefinders.com. But again, you can learn all of that at horizoncareservices.com because it's all under one umbrella. And the one who's in charge of that, the one who founded it, the one whose integrity is the benchmark for her creation is Andrea Albertini, my dear friend, my co-host of this program. And Andrea, believe it or not, again, we're out of time. I know. Look at that. You're speechless, right? I know. But we are out of time. And there's a lot more we have to get to. You know, the whole concept of some of the scams, all that. There's a lot still to talk about with regards to home care, with making sure we're all safe and protected and that our loved ones are getting the best care they can. So there will be another great episode of Limitless Health Horizons coming up the same time next week. We're going to continue our discussions. Mike McGann, Andrea Albertini, and you. HorizonCareServices.com is the website. Happy South Florida Saturday.
Horizon Care Services, because there's no place like home.